Ladies and gentlemen, Ducks of all ages, what I got for you today is the Season 2.5 patch notes for Marvel Rivals, and these patch notes are absolutely insane. And of course, like always, like, subscribe, and let's get started with our Vanguard section. So the first character that is getting changed is Captain America, and they are adjusting his base health from 600 to 575. This is a pretty significant change. Captain America, super strong right now, whether you want to believe it or not. This character terrorizes your elo. Then we have it increase the delay of shield recovery from 2 seconds to 4 seconds after unleashing Living Legend. Then we have the increase the energy cost of Freedom Charge ultimate ability from 2,800 to 3,100. This means it's going to be taking a little bit more time to get your ultimate up and ready to go, which is good. Overall, I don't think the changes are enough to completely make this character horrible, but I think they're changes in the right direction. I think he's still going to be super strong character, still, in that dive meta world. Again, very strong. Then we have Doctor Strange, and they adjusted the damage fall-off of daggers at the neck from starting at 10 meters and reducing to 62.5% at 20 meters, to starting at 10 meters and reducing to 80% at 20 meters. This is the primary attack, the left click, the right trigger, whatever you want to call it. So he's going to be doing a little bit more damage because the damage fall-off isn't starting too hard. Then they remove the range damage from fall-off of Maelstrom of Madness, which is his E ability. This means that you're going to be able to E people from a lot further, or not. He's going to be able to E people or use his special ability to do damage to enemies that are a little bit further out of that radius of the Maelstrom of Madness radius, and still do damage, quite a lot. Then for Emma Frost, they increased the range of Telepathic Pulse from 15.5 meters to 18. Then they decreased the shield value of Mind's Aegis from 500 to 400, which is a pretty massive change, 100 damage. Then they increased the cooldown of Carbon Crush from 5 seconds to 6. Then they decreased the hit damage of Crystal Kick from 50 to 40. And they decreased the extra damage dealt with propelling the enemies into the wall from 100 to 90. So maybe you're not going to be getting one-shotted now as a squishy character. Overall, I think Emma Frost definitely needed to be adjusted. She was certainly super strong. I mean, let's be honest, if you pull off the right combo at the right time, you can literally one-shot a Groot from, 800 to 0 HP, which is a pretty massive change. So this is definitely nice, definitely needed. Then we have Groot. Groot is finally getting a nerf. They're decreasing the damage of Vine Strike per hit from 70 to 65, so a 15 damage decrease. Pretty massive change. Then they increase the Ironwood Wall's cooldown from 8 to 12. Now, 8 to 12 doesn't seem like a lot, but let me tell you, for Groot's, this is a major change. This honestly is a major change. I don't know. Groot might not be getting played as more anymore, but I still feel like Bucky plus Groot combo is still so good, so you might still be seeing Groots once the Season 2.5 drops. But for now, this is kind of where it's at. Then for Magneto, they increased the charging speed of rings from 4 seconds a stack to 3 seconds, so this is a buff to Magneto. For Thor, they adjusted the hammer throw ability effect of a standard ability. They removed the Thor force cost and the universal cooldown. They adjusted the ability cooldown to 6 seconds. Thor gains 1 Thor force for each hammer throw enemy hit. This is a pretty nice change. And then they decreased the throw hit damage from 70 to 45 and the return damage from 30 to 20. So basically what they're doing here is they're nerfing the damage of hammer throw, but they're giving hammer throw a much better use, I would say. It's not necessarily... I mean, they're nerfing the damage, but you're going to be able to do a lot more now with the hammer throw, which is, I think, removing the Thor Force cost is good for the hammer throw. I never understood why it had a cost, because it kind of put his damage down, and that's why they're decreasing the damage of the hammer throw, because you're going to be able to use your abilities a lot more, essentially. Then they decrease the shield value gained when consuming Thor Force, and they adjust the bonus health gained from each Thor Force consumed from 100 to 75, and adjust the maximum bonus health from 200 to 150. So this is a nerf to Thor, honestly. I haven't been seeing Thor played a ton, which is kind of interesting to me. I don't really see why they're changing Thor that much. There's some Thor players out there that are extremely good, and this is definitely, I don't know. I feel like Thor doesn't need changes. In the current meta, he's kind of in a rough spot for me personally, from what I've seen. So actually nerfing him is kind of weird. But I like they adjust the hammer throw ability effect to a standard ability. I like this change, and they remove the Thor Force costs and stuff. But nerfing the damage kind of feels weird to me. I don't know. If you're a Thor main in the comments, let me know what's going on with this. How do you feel about this? With that out of the way, let's talk about our Duelist section, and we have Hawkeye. So first, Clint's getting a boost to his regular hits. Looks like the archer's aim is getting sharper. They increase the base damage of his arrow from 32 to 34. They reduce the projectile damage of blast arrow from 15 to 16. And they increase the spell field damage from 32 to 34. And they increase the maximum focus from 70 to 75. Increase the charging speed when aiming at an enemy from 100 a second to 108 a second, and the charge fall-off speed from 30 a second to 32. So they buffed Hawkeye. That's essentially what it is. Hawkeye is going to be in your games 24/7 now, so you're going to be needing to ban him essentially. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of weird, but we kind of have to make do. I don't know how I feel about this. He's already much of a nuisance. Like, he's already a big nuisance if in the right hands with Hawkeye, so having him buffed like this is kind of weird. For Hela, they increase the charge capacity of the Night Sword Thorn from 8 to 10. This is a buff to Hela. Her right click, it's her right click, so instead of 8 charges or whatever she shoots out, she's going to... Wait, no, this is our left click? Whatever, but basically it's a buff to Hela, so it's kind of odd. Then for Human Torch, they reduce the damage of Fire Cluster from 7 per hit to 6. Then they increase the charge speed of Blazing Blast from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. Then they decrease the shield value gained from Flaming Meteor from 75 to 50, increase the cooldown from 15 to 20. 20 seconds for one cooldown is kind of crazy for a Duelist. I know Loki and Adam Warlock, they have 28 and 40 seconds for Soulbound, 30 seconds. So this is a pretty massive change. This is definitely a nice nerf to Human Torch, who was really terrorizing my ranked games, so I like this change a lot. Then Iron Fist, they lowered the Dragon's defense damage blocked bonus health conversion rate from 1.5 to 1.3. They decreased the maximum bonus health converted from damage blocked from 200 to 175. Slightly decreased the dash distance at in the Z-axis direction when there is no target. And then they reduce the Dragon's defensive cooldown reduction from hits from 1.5 to 1 second. So overall, a nerf to Iron Fist. Love to see it. Pretty solid nerfs. I still think he's still going to get played with a dive composition. But is he going to be getting picked a lot less now? Probably. So, I mean, overall, good change. I think he was a little too strong. For Iron Man, they removed Iron Man's Gamma Overdrive from the Gamma Charge Up. This is a pretty massive change. They're removing his Gamma, which is, a little interesting because they're replacing it with a team up with Ultron. Then they decreased the projectile damage of the third repulsor blast from 50 to 45 and decreased the spell field damage from 60 to 55. So overall, a nerf. They reduced the armor overdrive maximum bonus health from 100 to 50, which is another massive change, massive buff, massive nerf. So that's always good to see, always good to see. 100 was a lot, but I think 50 is just right. For Namor, they increased the cooldown of Blessing of the Deep from 15 seconds to 20. That's his shift ability, which is the bubble, whatever you want to call it. So that's a pretty massive change. They're expanding the Horn of Proteus ultimate ability, inner circle radius from 3 meters to 3.5, and the outer radius circle from 8 meters to 9. And they decreased the outer circle radius hit damage from 200 to 180. This is an interesting change. They're making his ult way bigger, and his inner ring circle, where it essentially one-shots everybody, a lot bigger as well. And they're making the outer radius, bigger as well. Then they're decreasing the outer circle radius hit damage from 200 to 180. Now, the thing is, even though they're changing 20 damage, you're still going to be able to one-shot people with the Luna, damage boost. So it's not a crazy change. This is just a buff to him. The first one's a nerf, the second one's a buff. Then they adjusted the monstro spawn damage falloff starting at 20 meters, reducing to 30% at 40 meters, to starting at 20 meters, reducing to 50% at 40 meters. So this is a pretty, big change. So maybe if you're a Spider-Man man or a Black Panther man, you're a little bit more happy here. For Psylocke, they decreased the retrieval damage of winged shurikens from 14 to 12. And then they decreased the invisibility duration of psychic stealth from 3 seconds to 2. So you're losing 1 second of invis and you're doing less damage. It's a pretty big change to Psylocke. 3 seconds to 2, a 1 second change doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you're trying to get a flank off, when you're trying to escape, it is a rather major change. For Squirrel Girl, they increased the capacity of Burst Acorn from 10 to 12, so you have 12 shots now. Then they decreased the cooldown of Mammo Bond from 12 seconds to 10, so another decent buff. And then they optimized the user experience of Squirrel Blockade, Tail Bounce, and Unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami ultimate ability. So they're probably just making it seem a lot easier how to use it, how it goes. For Star-Lord, they increased the energy cost of Galactic Legend from 3,100 to 3,400. So this is a nerf to Star-Lord. Then they extended the maximum target range from 30 meters to 40 and adjusted the damage fall-off from reducing to 60 meters at 40 meters to reducing at 75 at 40. So this first part is a nerf because it's going to take longer to get your charge up. This is a buff. They extended the maximum target range from 30 to 40, so you'll be able to beam people from a lot further away. But because they're increasing that range, they're decreasing the damage fall off, so damage is going to be falling off a lot harder, so pretty solid. For Storm, they increased the damage of Omega Hurricane ultimate ability from 150 a second to 160. Pretty decent change. Overall, really good change to Storm. For Punisher, they reduced the movement slow rate of Final Judgment, his ultimate ability, from 20% to 10, which is pretty good when not firing, and from 40% to 30 when firing. So while you're in ultimate, you'll be able to move around a lot faster. And then they increased the magazine from 30 to 40, so his primary, AR, whatever you want to call it. And then the single hit damage from 18 to 19 and slightly reduced the spread when firing. So it's going to be easier to be using his primary weapon. And I believe they are removing ammo overload or ammo override, whatever you want to call it. But overall, some pretty solid changes to a lot of the duelists, most notably Human Torch, Iron Fist. Honestly, Hawkeye is a massive change too. But what do you think about these changes in the comments below? Did they cook? Did they not cook? I think it's all right for what it is. I think it's fine. So we just have to see how it plays. Now, as always, I'll put the link to the full patch notes in the description and in the pinned comments. But moving on to our strategist section, we have Jeff. And Jeff is getting a ton of changes, it seems. So first, they add a new effect to Joyful Splash. It now also deals damage to enemies at 70 a second and can heal allies through other allies, but not through enemies. Damage fall-off starts at 20 meters to a maximum of 65 at 40 meters, and they reduce the healing per second from 150 to 100. That's his main healing, which is... This is interesting that it also deals damage to enemies, which... interesting. And then they changed the Aqua Burst ability to a charge ability, which is his primary attack, is right click, or left trigger on controller maybe, to max 3 charges, 3 seconds per charge. This is a major change because now you can only shoot 3. It's kind of like Adam Warlock's Avatar Livestream ability with his E, if you want to think of it like that. And then the new effect, direct hits now launch enemies up, increase spell field damage from 40 to 45. This means you can't really do flanking Jeff, it seems. I mean, you can. It's going to be a lot harder to do. Then they changed the effect of healing bubble from one-time healing to healing over time. And they increased the healing amount from the previous instance, 85 to 120 over 4 seconds. They reduced the max charges from 6 to 3 and removed the enemy launch up effect. A pretty big... This is just all complete... So, 1, 2, 3, these are all complete reworks, in my opinion, to all of his abilities. It's not necessarily a buff or a nerf, it's just a complete overhaul rework of him. Then they added a new effect to Hide and Seek, which is his, go underground. It now has an energy cap, max 120, that drains by 20 a second, while submerged and restores 15 a second when not, reducing healing while submerged from 35 to 15. This means you can't be under the ground forever anymore. you're actually going to have to pop up, give it a little bit, then go back down. So this decreases his survivability behind enemy lines. You can't, again, they're trying to push away from playing this flanking Jeff. And then for Jeff's ultimate, Overflow Healing on Swallowed Allies now grants 45 health per second as bonus health, up to 150. And they increased the damage reduction received when taking a critical hit from 50 to 70%. So pretty big change to the head hitbox. Then for Luna Snow, they increased the light and dark ice healing amount and damage from 20 per round to 22. So they're increasing her damage, which is pretty crazy. Now added a new effect to Absolute Zero, which is her freeze, her snowball. Now grants 50 bonus health per enemy hit. Wait, not her snowball, but I misworded that. But so these are two buffs to Luna Snow. And then they increased the energy cost of Fate of Both Worlds from 4,500 to 5,000. So a pretty massive energy change. Overall, pretty much a buff to Luna with a little bit of a nerf to her ultimate. Not the end of the world, pretty solid still. For Rocket, let's see. Losing Team Up Anger bonus. So he doesn't have Armor Overload anymore. And they're reducing the repair mode direct hit healing from 55 to 50. So he's going to be doing less healing. And he can't do the infinite ammo anymore. So overall, some pretty insane changes to these three strategies. The biggest one, of course, being Jeff, because it seems like he's just a complete rework overhaul. Let me know what you think about these strategist changes in the comments down below. Now we come to our team-ups, which is also pretty massive. So team-ups new, Chilling Assault is Luna Snow and Hawkeye. As a team-up anchor, Luna Snow gains a 15% increase in healing effects. Hawkeye unlocks a new Ice Arrow ability through his team-up with Luna Snow. And if you don't know what the team-up looks like, make sure to check out my video on the Dev Talk. They showed what it does. It's pretty insane. Then Jeff NATO, Storm, and Jeff the Landshark. Storm gains the Shark Surge ability through the team-up with Jeff the Landshark. Jeff gains the It's Jeff NATO ability through his team-up with Storm, which I think... Do I think it's going to be good? Not necessarily, but do I think it's hilarious? Yes, I think it's awesome. Then we have Operation Microchip, which is Punisher and Black Widow. As the team-up anchor, the Punisher gains a maximum health increase of 25 and a 5% boost in damage output. This is... I didn't know it did the damage boost. That's actually kind of cool. Then Black Widow unlocks a new pulse rifle ability through her team up with the Punisher. It's kind of like a charge. Again, you have to see my Dev Talk video. Then Rocket Network for Rocket and Penny. As a team-up anchor, Rocket gains a 5% increase in healing effects. When the team-up is active, Rocket's BRB is upgraded to a web beacon. So you throw it out into BRB, and it produces the same as Penny's spider generator or whatever. It spawns a little nest, the little abilities. And then Penny unlocks a new armored spider nest ability through her team-up, so she can have 2 spider nests at once. Then we have Stark Protocol, which is Iron Man and Ultron. As the team-up anchor, Iron Man gets a 5% bonus in damage output. Ultron gains a new Nano Ray ability from his team-up with Iron Man. Then we have Symbiotic Shenanigans with Venom and Jeff the Landshark. As the team-up anchor, Venom gains a maximum health increase of 150. Jeff gains the Healing Tendrils ability through his team-up with Venom. And I've seen this ability, like it showed on the Dev Vision. It's actually pretty crazy for Jeff, I'm not going to lie. Then Adjusted or Removed. So they removed the team up with Hawkeye Black Widow. They removed the ammo overload. They removed Chilling Charisma. They kicked Iron Man out of Gamma. You can still do Hulk and Namor though. And then they removed this team up completely. So you don't have the team up with Penny and Spider-Man now. Interesting. So for balance changes for Atlas Bound, Iron Fist Luna, they decreased the Atlas Bound team up anchor damage boost proportion from 15 to 10. For Fantastic Four, they increased the cooldown of Storm siblings wedded. Okay, so from 20 seconds to 25. Not a major change. 5 seconds is decent though. For Gamma Charge, they increased the Gamma Monstro cooldown from 15 to 20, so a pretty big change there. For Mental Projection, reduced the proportion of damage caused by magnetic Renaissance and Soul Resurgence illustrate illusions from 30 to 20. So this is a big change. 30 to 20%, 10% change. Overall, these team ups look cool. This one is scary because I mean it's crazy. This will be interesting because I want to see Ultron. This one, I believe, Symbiote Shenanigans is also, super good. It's kind of sad that they removed the ammo overload because I feel like that's why as you played Punisher. I think Punisher without ammo overload is going to be a little bit annoying. But maybe the changes they made to Punisher for Season 2.5 is they see it's good enough to be played without the infinite ammo. But we'll have to see once we get our hands on the game or the new patch. But let me know what you think in the comments down below about all these changes to the team-up abilities in the game. Me personally, I think Jeff Nato is probably the coolest thing we're going to ever see in any video games. Overall, solid changes. Of course, if you're new, like the video if you like it, subscribe if you're new. You have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.